Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, bringing you another Beat Matt Batrep.
We work so you can play. MiniWarGaming's Beat Matt Batrep.
Today I am joined by Andrew, not Andre.
No, not Andre.
Andrew,
Yeah.
from Wisconsin. Insert joke about cheese here. And we're going to be playing a game of Warhammer 40k, Necrons versus Chaos Space Marines. It's going to be 1,500 points. We're going to be playing on the new board, because that's fun, different configuration than last time that I played on it. Let's take a look at the armies as well as a scenario on deployment.
So for my Necron army, I decided I wanted to bring something elitish. I also wanted to try out the Praetorians because I just got some of those painted and I wanted to see them in the game. So I got Trazine the Infinite here. And his Royal Court is a couple of Necron Lords with Resurrection Orbs. And then I just went for a lot of Lich Guard. We got 5 Lich Guard with their War Scythes, and 5 Lich Guard with the Hyperphase Sword and the Dispersion Shields. So that's a lot of points between those two groups. And then we've got a full squad of Praetorians, also a lot of points. But I thought, hey, if I'm going to try them out, I better try them out. Then we've got an Annihilation Barge, because they're awesome. And then 2 squads of 10 Necron Warriors, just the kind of minimum amount of troops that I needed. For Andrew's Chaos Space Marines, we've got a list that you don't normally see with Chaos Space Marines, which I liked because it showed off some different things. We've got a Chaos Lord on bike. And then we've got, these aren't Plague Marines, these are actually just Chaos Space Marines with the Mark of Nurgle. And I know normally people will say, well, bring Plague Marines rather than just a Mark of Nurgle, but it's kind of fun to have a difference. Or try out something different. And these are Terminators with the Mark of Nurgle, and these are Devastators. And they're pretty much, they got like each weapon that you can have, a Last Cannon, Autocannon, Heavy Bolter, Missile Launcher, I believe they have all of those. And then we've got a squad of Chaos Bikers as well, and they'll be accompanying the Chaos Lord. And of course we got to have a Helldrake, because a Helldrake is awesome, and 2 Vindicators. Now the Chaos Space Marines are inside of Rhinos. So that failed to mention those before. Scenario and deployment. Now we have objectives. We rolled for D3 plus 1 objectives, or D3 plus 2, and we rolled 3 objectives in total. So you have 1 right here on the bridge, got 1 right there on the other side of that bridge, and then 1 right in the middle of this building, which is interesting because there's a lot of line of sight blocked to that objective. And we're going to be doing Hammer and Anvil, which kind of sucks for me because I'm very slow. I don't have my Lich Guard inside of Night Scythes, and he's got his guys inside of Rhinos, and he's got the Vindicators. Now the Vindicators are only 24 inches effective range, but still, it'll definitely give him a bit of the advantage of having the gun line. However, having said that, because it's Hammer and Anvil, the objective that's in the middle is blocked line of sight wise from both sides. So if he wants to be able to go after that objective, as you can see, he's deploying on this side, not near that objective. He's going to have to get his guys right up there. He's going to have to cross those bridges and everything. My Annihilation Barge, I'm deploying in cover. Oh, sorry, we're not doing Hammer and Anvil. We're doing the diagonal deployment. I can't remember what it's called. I always forget the name of that one. So that one's even harder in some ways because your deployment's kind of awkward. And especially because on his side, a lot of it was in that river. And so I put my Annihilation Barge in cover because in the first turn he will not have Jink because he will not have moved. And also he's very important to take down that Helldrake. He's really the only thing that can hurt the Helldrake. The Necron Warriors can hurt him as well, but we're talking about snap shooting and then glancing on 6s, so it's not likely. And then my Lich Guard with Dispersion Shields I can just kind of put out in the open, whereas the other Lich Guard without the Dispersion Shields I like to hide in cover or behind another unit because they do not have an invulnerable save. He's got his Havocs up on top of that building for good line of sight for his long-range weaponry, and then he's ready to take those bridges. We roll to see if I steal the initiative, and I do not, so Chaos will have the first turn. Starts off by rolling the Vindicator right across the first bridge, and the Rhino right behind it, full of the Chaos Space Marines with Mark of Nurgle. The other Vindicator then goes in. That Vindicator is going to take a shot at these Necron Warriors. It can't see most of them, but it doesn't matter because it is a blast. And one thing I've always wondered, and I got to try to figure out, is what cover save do you get when it's with the models that you can't see? And you can't say it's just from the middle of the blast because that's only ordnance. You have to do it based on line of sight. But if you can't see them, then which one do? Do you just kind of give them the cover save of the thing that's in between and blocking line of sight? In that case, there's the building. So if the building's blocking line of sight, then it is a 4+ cover save. Or how do you do that? Because that's one thing I've always been kind of confused about, and it doesn't quite clear that up. So if anybody has any insights to that, go ahead and leave a comment below. I know a lot of people have opinions. If you can actually find FAQs or rulebook references that will clarify that, that would be great as well. So not much damage in the first turn. I got pretty lucky there. It could have gone really poorly for me. And so now my Annihilation Barge is going to jump out of cover because he is a fast skimmer, or he is a skimmer, which means he will have Jink when he moves, and he wants to try to take down that Vindicator and block that one bridge as soon as possible. Now he can go into the river, of course, but it will be dangerous terrain. So starting off with some firing from the Warriors, just to see if we can glance it a bit, and I do get lucky and I get 2 glancing hits on it. And so that brings it down to 1 hull point left. And then I go shoot with the Annihilation Barge, which should be able to do a lot more damage. And I roll, it's twin link thankfully on the Strength 7 weapon, but I don't roll any 6s. And then I fail to even glance it. So I get unlucky with the Annihilation Barge, which means the Vindicator will survive, because that's pretty much all the shooting I have that can really go against it. Everybody else is just running to get into a better position. So I failed at that, which sucks for 2 reasons. 1, he'll be able to fire back at me. And 2, I didn't get first blood with that kill, and if he kills my Annihilation Barge or one of my units, then he will get first blood. And when you only have 3 objectives on the board, first blood and Warlord kill are going to matter a lot. So going into Chaos turn 2, the score is still 0-0. He rolls for reinforcements or reserves, and none of them come on. The Terminator nor the Helldrake will come on. The Vindicator then moves back, realizing he needs a bit of cover, although it is a little dangerous as he's going to be blocking that bridge if it gets destroyed. The other ones move up slightly, and then this Rhino moves up right behind this Vindicator. So narrow bridge, just wide enough to get one of them through. Vindicator's going to take a second shot at these Warriors and hope for a little better luck, and unfortunately it does scatter a little bit that way, which means it won't hit nearly as many. But it does wound on a 2, and there are some guys that were not in cover, but then the next nearest ones are in cover, but fail both the cover saves. Now I do have my 5+ reanimations, and we'll see what happens there. Then he's got a Storm Bolter, or the Bolter on top, and unfortunately it does not hit. He then fires at the other Rhino with the Bolter that's on top there. I do have a 3+ save, and I make that, thankfully. Second Vindicator then fires into this nice group of wonderful squishiness, and doesn't really scatter hardly at all, because it has a nice high ballistic skill. And so it's going to hit both of those groups of Lich Guard. I do have a 4+ and vulnerable save on the guys out front, and we had to roll for those first to see who would go down, to see if it hit Trazing. And 2 of them do go down, but they might get back up. They do have a 4+ chance of standing back up. And then we've got the second group, which has the cover save, and looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 of those guys do go down. And then we've got the regular Bolter as well, and it does not hit, although it is twin-linked. It's a combi Bolter, so it's twin-linked. Then he's firing at the Annihilation Barge because he really wants to destroy that thing, because it's going to be a nuisance otherwise. And we've got all sorts of different strengths with the different weapons. Last cannon, auto cannon, I think. But he doesn't do anything against the Annihilation Barge. See if these guys run. They do not. Do they stand up? It's 40 points each. One of them stands up. Sorry, 45 points each. So 45 points stood up there. That's exactly what should happen. Do these guys stand up? They run! 4 Lich Guard, 40 points apiece. Don't even get a chance to stand back up. Plus, the rest of the squad will be running and are below... Oh no, they're not below 25% strength, so they don't have to roll double ones to get back up. But that is 160 points of Lich Guard. They do not get a chance to come back in. I roll for my reserves, and I do get to come in. I get to re-roll because of my Warlord trait. It actually came in handy this time. They do scatter. I went for somewhere a little dangerous because it's close to the edge of the board, but I got to live on the edge, literally. And they scatter, so some of them will have to take dangerous terrain tests because they are inside that difficult terrain, just 2 of them, and I roll double 1. But, yeah, I make my saves, so it's okay. And then these Warriors, we have to roll to see if they run away. We forgot that last turn, and they do. So that's 3 more Warriors going down, and then they run. So not going so well for the Necrons this early on in the game. And now I'm going to see if they regroup. They only need a 10 or less. Oh, and of course they get insane courage now. Do these guys regroup? They only need 10. They do. So these guys, they're only going to be able to move 3 inches. They're going to have to snap fire, so they're pretty much useless for a turn. So they're going to hide behind that building and not give him a clear shot at me. And we're going to have the Dispersion Shield guys run forward as far as they can in order to be able to get into close combat. Maybe next turn if I'm lucky. And these guys are moving 3 inches to try to get back into combat. These Warriors are moving up. They're going to get ready to start to sit on the objective in the middle because, hey, it's an objective game. Got to remember that. Praetorians get to fire. It's only a 6-inch range weapon, but strength 5, and it is AP 2, which is nice. So he only gets cover saves, so I knock out a biker there, and then he's going to look out Sir those. And he does take one of the wounds on his Lord, and the other one successfully look out Sirs and kills another guy. And the Action Barge is going for blood here. First blood, to be exact. He gets lots of hits, so 6s are 3 hits each, and he does glance and pen, and he does fail to get his cover save for the penetrating roll, which means he dies, and I get a victory point for first blood. So score is now 1-0. These guys are running, but not very far. So they're going to have to take another round of shooting. Thankfully, the Lich Guard are running there too. And then these warriors they decide to run as well because they just realize they need to get in a better position. And now that the Vindicator is dead, they don't have to worry nearly as much. These guys are going to run in here, getting ready to hold on to that objective. Because points-wise, I might be winning, especially when we look at the points now. It's 4-0 because I have the objective in the middle, and he doesn't have any objectives. But he's already managed to do some pretty serious casualties to me, whereas I've only managed to destroy one of his Vindicators, which, you know, that's not a small deal, especially because it's blocking the bridge that the Rhino behind it is on. The Rhino could try to drive over it, but it is a dangerous terrain and difficult terrain. So his Helldrake will come on this turn, and the Terminators will as well. So he's going to deep strike them nice and near my warriors, hoping not to mishap, and he doesn't. He gets a direct hit, which means they get to go right where they want. They're going to try to gun down those warriors before they can come in. Helldrake will fly on, getting ready to fire his Torrent Flamer to try to take out as many of those warriors as possible, because if he can kill all the warriors, then I can't take objectives. The Biker's getting ready to charge the Praetorians, and he decides to move back with his squad and dump them all out, because that way they can just kind of foot slog it across the board. Havocs then fire at the Annihilation Barge, determined to take it down, and they do get lots of hits. That one does nothing. A 6 to glance with that one, and it does nothing. And a 5 to glance with that one, it does nothing. So wasted shots from the Havoc. Not that he wasted them, the dice wasted them. Vindicator then firing point blank range into these guys, and he gets a direct hit. I believe that'll hit 4 of them. Yeah, 5 of them, and he does a wound to each of them. 4+ saves. I am rolling separately because it'll have to start going on guys who do not have a 4+ save. So he goes down. He goes down, and then Trazine is going to look out Sir for the rest of them. And then I get a 4+ invulnerable and fail those as well. And that means those Lich Guard cannot come back because there are none of them left. That's how it works. So Lich Guard did absolutely nothing except soak up some fire. I knew they weren't going to do super well because, you know, you bring that many Lich Guard, it's not going to work super awesome. But I expected to be able to roll a little bit better than failing like 4+ saves in a row. That's just, the dice were not in my favor at all. So now we're rolling for something. I lost track of it. Oh, the Praetorian's getting shot by the Bikers. Looks like one of them goes down, and then these guys are going to take some pot shots at them as well. They can't charge. They came out of the Rhino this turn. It is not an assault vehicle, so they do not get to charge. Gotta love the new rules. Although that was actually the old rules because the Rhino had already moved as well. And I make all my saves, so it's fine. And he rolls, and it misses the table. So he rolls again and misses the 3+, and then rolls another one, 3+, and then 5+. Terminators in fire into Necron warriors, hitting on 3s, nice and close. 5 hits, gets to re-roll them because they're twin linked. And were they twin linked? I guess they were. Either way, 2 warriors go down. Helldrake then Torrent Flamers into the other group, winning them on 2s. No saves allowed because it's AP 3 and it's a Flamer, so it ignores cover. So 5 of them go down. So do these guys stand back up? 5+. No, of course not. Why would we have reanimation protocols? It just doesn't matter. Do these 5 run away? Ha, barely, no. Then do they stand back up? And here is where the dice say, okay, fine, here's a bit of luck. 4 out of 5 of the 5+ rolls were succeeded. That's a big deal because it means basically that his Torrent Flamer killed 1 single Necron warrior. And then, of course, the Praetorian doesn't stand up, even though he's 40 points, and he would be worth more. Then the Bikers are going to charge the Praetorians, and I do get to Overwatch, only hitting with 1 of the shots, but it's Strength 5, so that's nice. It wounds him, and it is AP 2, so the Lord in front just takes that. Then he charges in, only needs 3, gets 7, so he'll be fine. So they'll all get into close combat there, so now I get to see the Praetorians fight in close combat, and see how well they do there. And there is dangerous terrain rolls, but they do not get hurt. Then he gets to attack me because his initiative is higher than mine, and there goes more dice. Dice always go flying. And wounds 1. Or no, I make my save. Sorry, he wounds, and I made my save. Then the Praetorians get to jump in at their awesome initiative of 2 and hit back with their awesome 1 attacks each. Hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s though, thankfully, because they're Strength 5. And he has a 3+ save, and he fails one of them. He gets to choose which one dies, so he just takes one of these guys, does not kill the Lord, because that would be a bad idea. And then the Lord gets to... Oh no, so they were charging through difficult terrain, I believe. They're at initiative 1, so why did he get to attack first? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. I think he might have had, like... Whatever. 1 dies. And I got Soul Blaze. Soul Blaze basically means right now we roll 4+, it continues to hurt me. And we'll see. Actually, no, sorry, that wasn't Soul Blaze. That was his reanimations. Now we're rolling Soul Blaze. 4+, it'll continue. It does D3 as strength 4 hits. He gets 1 and fails to wound, but the Soul Blaze will continue until he fails that 4+ roll. So Necron's turn 3, I move over saying, hey, Heldrake, you failed to hurt us really badly, so we're going to rapid fire and see if we can destroy you. Annihilation Barge also steps forward or floats forward and is going to try to take down the Heldrake as well, because that Heldrake is the single most terrifying thing on the board right now. Sure, he's got a Vindicator, sure, he's got Chaos Bikers, but that Heldrake will outshine them all. So Annihilation Barge fires at the Heldrake first, and thankfully is twin-linked because it is snap-firing, and he fails to hit him at all. Then I get a lot of shots from rapid-firing Necron Warriors. Actually managed to get 5 hits. But nothing. Nothing at all. So these 4 little warriors will fire. They get 1 hit and 1 glancing. So finally, but he gets a 5+ invulnerable save. So he actually loses 1 of his 3 hull points. And then I'm going to actually attempt to charge these Terminators. So they get to Overwatch. And he does get a hit, but he fails to wound. I do need a 10 to get there, though, and I failed to get there. I just wanted to get into combat. I just felt like it. Then I wanted to charge his Vindicator as well. Thankfully, it can't Overwatch. So Trazine and the Necron Lord will get there, and they automatically hit it because it was sat still that turn, and actually managed to blow it up. It doesn't explode, but they do wreck it. So I guess they didn't manage to blow it up. They just managed to wreck it. That's nice for me because Vindicators are going to do a lot of damage. And then we continue this close combat, and 2 of the Praetorians go down, and then they attack back against the Chaos Bikers, and actually get 4 hits. That's pretty good. And then get 4 wounds. That's even better. And then he fails 2 of them. I'm just liking these guys, although I guess it's just the luck of the dice right there. Chaos Lord is still alive, and these guys will try to stand back, and of course they do not make it, because this game, the rules are, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to make reanimation protocol rolls, except for that 1 time. And so, yeah, they die. But at least they're holding up all those Chaos Bikers, and they're kind of tying up the back flanks here, which means we're ending turn 3 here. We're going into turn 4, and he's nowhere near the objectives except for the Terminators. And so he has no way to score a lot of the objectives, especially if the game ends at turn 5. So now he's got to start thinking differently, because although I'm losing points-wise, first, does this guy get his thing back? No, he does not. And actually, that was supposed to be on his turn. Doesn't matter. He flies over, and he's going to Vector Strike the Annihilation Barge. But anyways, he's got to think differently, because he can kill as many of my guys as he likes, but if I manage to hold an objective and he doesn't, then I will win. His Vector Strike sucked there, by the way. Thankfully, not killing the Annihilation Barge. The Annihilation Barge has an I will not die special rule, which basically just means that you can't kill him. And the Terminators move up to engage these lonely warriors, because those warriors can hold objectives, and that's a big deal. And I only have 2 scoring units, so if he can knock those out, then I can't hold any objectives, and then he's got a better chance of beating me. So the Terminators fire, and they hit on 3s. They get to reroll, and then they wound on 4s. And I have a 4+ save, and I make 1 of them. So only 2 of the guys go down. So he still gets a charge, because I don't think he rapid-fired there. And then he torrents into these guys, and this is where it's going to hurt. He hits 6 of them, wounding 5 of them, and I don't get any saves against that whatsoever. So they just lie down on the ground, getting ready to have their reanimation protocol. By the way, I lie them down, not because that's the way you do it. That's the way you did it in the old edition. It's just to remember that I got to do it. So where they are lying down doesn't actually matter. Then he takes some long shots at my Lord, because now the Havocs have no targets besides that Lord. And unfortunately, that means that they're just kind of wasted up there at this point. Didn't manage to do any damage early on, but he does at this point kill these guys, and the Necron Lord is now lying on the ground. Then he's going to try to hurt my Necron Lord and Trazine as much as possible, but doesn't. And then he fires into or now he's charging the Praetorians. Sorry, he can't fire. And it is difficult terrain, so these guys will be dropped to initiative. Actually, no, they have assault grenades. Never mind. So they're okay. These guys run away. Whoa, jeez, double 5s just give me heart attacks. And one of them stands up. So Necron Warriors are allowed to make their reanimation protocols, but my 40 to 45 point guys are not. That seems to be the way that this game is going. And then he fails his charge. He actually tries to charge him and he fails it. Do I get up? Thankfully, this guy does. So, you know, yay for him. He has to be within 3 inches of where his marker was. Do these guys run away? It would suck if they did. They rolled 10 again, jeez. And this time only one of them stands back up, and a resurrection orb right there would have paid for itself, as those 4s would have been more guys. So I'm in trouble because now I have less and less scoring guys. So now we go into this close combat with the Praetorians. You know, at this point I'll say that the Praetorians were awesome because even if they die right now, they are holding off that Chaos Lord, who just died, by the way. So that's a point for me, so now it's 5-0. And this entire scoring unit, who could be moving forward to try to take objectives. Was it a bad idea for him to not move forward with them? I don't know, because the Praetorians there would have killed that Chaos Lord. I could have consolidated it away, and then I could have jumped forward and fired at all those guys who would have not got any saves whatsoever. So it's a hard choice for him because so many of my Praetorians had survived that close combat with those Space Marines. Whereas now you can see he just knocked out a bunch of them, and none of them made their reanimation protocol. Of course! People say that I should continue having the reanimation protocol counter. Well, in this game, it would just stay mostly at 0, except for like a few warriors. Really, I should have like your counter of how many failed, and that would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of points worth of guys. So now it's Necron's turn for just moving in, just trying to tie him up and buy myself some time. And if I get lucky, maybe I'll see some damage. Firing against the Helldrake, though. Ooh, we got some 6s, which are nice. And the other ones are re-rollable. And so we got lots of hits. These ones glance on 4s. And it looks like, what do we got here? What do we got? What do we got? We've got a weapon destroyed, which is nice, because that means he doesn't have any weapons, because he only has 1 weapon. Don't even have to roll for that one. Randomly roll on a 1+, you kill that weapon. Done. Got it. Then these guys are going to take some pot shots at the Terminators, because, hey, why not? Then try to finish off this Helldrake, because he can still Vector Strike, which is a big deal. And I do manage to glance it, but he rolls his invulnerable save and survives. That would have finished him off right there. My Lord decides he's going to charge these Terminators all by himself, because he's brave like that, or stupid like that, whatever you want to say. He wanted to pull the Terminators away, although I realize now that if they kill the Lord, they get to move d6 inches whatever way they want. So in some ways, I might have provided him with a way to get his guy closer if he kills his Lord. I got the Mind Shackle Scarabs, though, and he makes his 9 leadership roll on 3 dice, which is really too bad, because that would have actually maybe killed one of their own guys. And so now he's just, he's piling in. I got to go first. He's got a bunch of Power Fists. This is probably not going to end well for the Necron Lord. They get 3 hits and 3 wounds. He doesn't have any saves. So he's dead. Maybe. He does have Ever Living. They're going to consolidate away from him. They could try to consolidate around him, but they're really concerned about holding that objective. Do I come back? I do not. So it didn't matter that they did not consolidate around me, because they didn't come back anyways. Trazine and the Lord are going to go right now, and we got some Mind Shackle Scarabs going on. One of them makes it, and one of them fails it. So one of these guys is going to attack his own buddies, but more importantly, not going to attack me. That's the other benefit of Mind Shackle Scarabs. Not only do they attack themselves, but they also do not attack you, which is why it would have been nice to get both of them off. But alas, it was not meant to be. And somebody may have failed their save right there. That would be the Lord. So he lies down. He's ever living, so he might get back up. And then we've got, looks like, is this Trazine attacking? I think they might be attacking Trazine. So let's see in a second. Makes a 3+ save. We'll see if he runs away. No, that was Trazine attacking and failing. And then Trazine runs away. He rolls 10, where he had to roll a 9. But thankfully, they don't catch him. So no Warlord kill for them, unless he's running at the end. Does this guy stand back up on a 4+? Of course not. Because why would I buy Resurrection Orbs if he's actually not going to stand? It doesn't make any sense. End of round 4, the score is 5-0, which is deceiving because it makes it look like I'm really winning, when really there's hardly anything on the board left that is mine. But in the end, that's not what matters. He's obviously going to be able to grab that objective on the one bridge. He's going to have a harder time with the other objective across the bridge, especially since those Praetorians are still holding up the other scoring unit. These Terminators move forward, determined to wipe out those warriors. This Helldrake then Vector Strikes over Trazine, hits him 3 times, wounding him twice. I got a 3+ save, though, and I fail one of them. So he's down to 2 out of 3 of his wounds. He Vector Strikes Trazine, I love it. Then he's going to fire at Trazine with his pistols. And actually inflicts 2 wounds, but I make my 3+ saves. So no, you cannot kill him. These Havocs then fire at the warriors, determined to do something useful this game. And they do actually do some wounds and knock 2 of them down. And these Terminators are going to run. Looks like they're going to run. And the reason that I put a 5 there was because they needed to roll a 5 in order to contest that objective. It is turn 5, you might notice. And they did not roll that, so they are not contesting that objective. And then he fires at Trazine. Do these guys run away? Of course they do! Wow, how many 10 leadership rolls can you fail in one game? I don't even know, it doesn't matter. So those two don't even get to stand up, and the other guy just runs as far as he possibly can with 2d6. Then I get to fight these two Praetorians who really want to hold these guys up as long as possible. He gets a ton of attacks. I get 3+ saves though, and I only fail 1 out of 6 of those. So these guys just will not die. I'm telling you, they also have the rule, I will not die. And then he gets to attack back, actually wounds him once, and he makes a save though. So I see if I run away, and that actually reanimation, no, they're not, sorry, they're fearless, so they do not see if they run away. But the one did die, and the Soul Blaze does hit twice, it's D3, but does not wound. So he is stuck in that combat, at least during my turn. Trazine will then see if he runs away. He does regroup. Won't be able to charge this turn, which is too bad because I want to pull him off the objective. And the other guy does not regroup. He needs double ones. Annihilation Barge is then going to move over here. He's blocking the way, so they have to destroy the Annihilation Barge before they can move in there. And because he is not a walker, if they destroy him, they don't get to consolidate. So the way he is placed actually prevents those Terminators from being able to contest that objective. And, you know, I'll take some pot shots at them as well. He fires and gets lots of hits, rolls a lot of ones though, but he fails one of his saves, and he goes down. I think I forgot the arc though, the lightning arc. But I don't know if that ever does anything anyways. And then the Warriors rapid fire into the Terminators and do nothing. And finally, this last Praetorian is going to get hit a bajillion times and wounded once. Yeah, and he makes his save. So sucks to be those guys because they're stuck in combat for yet another turn. I don't hurt him back. Maybe the Soul Blaze will kill me. It does continue. It wounds me twice. Or it hits me twice, but does not wound me. So end of round 5, that Praetorian is still alive. And the score is 5-3. He's got the objective in the middle of the table, I've got the one in the corner. So we've got to see if the game continues. Remember, on a 3+, it continues, which means everything has come down to a single die roll. And he has a 66% chance of not automatically losing, and a 33% chance of trying to win. So let's see what happens. A 3+, the game will continue. Score is 5-3 for the Necrons. 3+, game continues. And he rolls a 3. Not a 4 or 5 or 6, just a 3. Just enough. Chaos turn 6. These guys are moving up to further hold that objective and get away from Trazine because he could theoretically kill the entire group in one turn because of his emphatic obliterator, which if he kills somebody, everybody else with the same name as him in the group is wounded on a 4+. And then the Havocs are going to open fire on him, just once again determined that they will be useful. They did make that one group of Necron warriors run away, so I have to say that is useful. But he makes all of his saves, and they do not kill him. Then they're all going to fire at him. They're like, we got to kill this guy. And they fail. They fail too. And then we got 2 of the bolters. They are twin-linked, so he gets to reroll. And then he wounds, but it won't kill him, even if I failed that save because I had 2 wounds left. Terminators are then going to charge the Annihilation Barge. They're like, you got to get this thing out of my way, man. And then hopefully we go to turn 7 because we're in trouble. Lots of hits, hitting on 3s, and I think that is an explosion. Yes, I explode within 6 inches, so here's his other chance. Maybe the explosion will cause my guys to die. Hits his guys, nothing happens. Hits my guys, and wounds none of them. Just not looking good for him. He's going to attack the Praetorian again. Will he get a little luckier this time? He does wound 4 times, and 5 times, and I failed twice. So the Praetorian is finally dead. Soul Blaze is gone, but these guys are far away from any objectives, which basically means the Praetorian was awesome, and I love him. Necrons, turn 6. Trazine's like, no, you cannot have that objective. I'm going to come for all myself. Another piece for the collection. This warrior does not regroup, so he's just going to run closer to the edge of the board. These guys are going to be like desperately firing to these Terminators because we're in turn 6. We could still go to turn 7. And so, you know, killing the Terminators would be nice. And I do kill one. Holy cow. I actually managed to kill one, and he was mad, and he wanted to hit me with those. And it does actually force a test, and they run away! Finally, somebody else suffers from the, sorry, you cannot make a leadership roll. That is just not how this game works. Kind of luck, which is a big deal because now those Terminators can't contest that objective. At least not very easily. Like, we're talking about a big deal. Trazine survives the Overwatch as he charges into the Space Marines, and he does his Mind Shackle Scarabs, which unfortunately they make. So I do pull him off the objective a little bit, but if he kills me, then he'll get a Warlord kill, and that won't be good. And so he attacks me first, lots of hits, only 1 wound though, and I got a 3+ save, and I fail it. So I'm down to 1 wound, And if I don't manage to wound him, then I have to make a leadership test. I hit back, hit him once, and fail. So, leadership test. See if I run away. 9 or less. Barely make it. So, that pulls him off that objective, which means that at the end of round 6, the score is 5-0. And that's just not looking good for the Chaos Space Marines anymore. Even though there's no Necrons really left on the board except for these guys, that one that's running away, and Trazine, who's tied up in combat. He is in trouble. Those Terminators running away was pivotal, whatever. Okay, I can't remember the word. Pivotal. And so now we're going to see. We're going to go to turn 7. Now to go to turn 7, you got to roll a 4+, not a 3+. Got to roll a 4+, not a 3+. Got to roll a 4+. Not a 3+. We're making this nice and long and dramatic, just in case you couldn't tell. And he rolls a 4. Exactly what he needed once again. So we go into Chaos turn 7. This is the last chance that he possibly has. The Terminators are going to see if they regroup on a 9 or less. They do. And so they get to move 3 inches back. So they get a chance to fire at those warriors. And then these guys could move. But most importantly, the Helldrake flies on and Vector strikes against those guys. He won't get to Torrent Flamer them, but he does Vector Strike. D3 plus 1 hits. He gets 4 hits. He wounds them on 2s, gets 3 wounds. So 3 of them go down because it is AP 3 on that. And then we see if they run away. If they run away, then that'll be game. They don't. And they don't stand back up either, so there's only 2 left. Talk about tense. Now in the shooting phase, he's going to fire at them with the Terminators, who are snap firing because they were running. He does get to reroll because they're twin link, but doesn't do any damage. So they're going through difficult and dangerous terrain here. They need to roll a 5 for their run, and they only roll a 1. The reason they had to roll a 5 was so they'd be holding that objective. So really not looking too good for the Chaos Space Marines. Trazine then gets to attack. He has Mind Shackle Scarabs, and they make it again. How many 9 Mind Shackle Scarabs things can he make? Like, just statistically shouldn't be making that many. But anyways, doesn't matter. They killed Trazine, scoring him a point for a Warlord kill, bringing the score to 5-1, but then he gets to move over to that objective, making the score 5-4. Necron's turn 4. Does this guy keep running? Of course he does. He runs off the board. So I just wanted to see how many guys were left. Firing at these Terminators, and 2 hits, 1 wound, and he makes his save. And that's it. That would be game because of these 2 Necron warriors, who are all that is left in the Necron force. The score is 5-4. He's got 1 objective. I've got 1 objective. But I got First Blood, and I got Warlord kill because he has no scoring units or even denial units in my deployment zone. So that is it. Very close game. You can watch the post-game show if you're a Vault member. If you're not a Vault member, then go to miniwargaming.com/vault trial to try it out for 7 days for free. Get instant access to watch this post-game show as well as tons of other battle reports. Stay tuned for more battle reports. This is Matthew from MiniWarGaming. Happy wargaming.